Welcome to WesternSlopeNow.com. Meteorologist Russ Pappas here. Take a look at this view from our tower cam. Clear skies. Now, this is a typical high pressure system. Clear, dry, mild conditions. We don't really have any rain opportunities coming online anytime soon. Certainly not this week. I am watching something for the weekend, but it looks like we're going to hold out until next week for that rain potential. Until then, it's just slowly warming temperatures under this ridge of high pressure. Now, we still have cool temperatures to contend with. A few spots tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, are still going to be a little bit on the cold side in the 20s. Those are mostly in the elevated sides. But here locally, we are expecting some cool temperatures. These are below average. For example, Montrose should be 46 as a low. Grand Junction should be 51 as a low. So we have one more morning of cooler than average temperatures. We will slowly recover as we work our way through this work week. Still, though, highlighted in purple are the same areas we had yesterday under a freeze warning. They'll be back under that freeze warning again for Wednesday morning for briefly cold temperatures. Now, these are season-ending freezes for these locations, but everyone else should do quite nicely. Now, also under that ridge of high pressure, we have quiet radar. There's really not much going on. Satellite mode may develop some cloud coverage. We may be able to see clouds, thin, high clouds in the next 48 hours, but again, not much to it. Now, our temperature and wind profile. First of all, our temperatures are slowly going to increase over the course of the week. Certainly nothing extraordinary. I don't see any 90-degree readings anytime within this extended forecast, but I want to show you the wind direction from the northwest. That's going to be for the next 24 hours primarily, and that's going to keep us on the cool side of things, that northwest flow for the next 24 hours. Once we get into Wednesday afternoon, we'll start to get that wind coming out of the west. Now, these are not strong wind speeds. It's breezy at best, but that westerly flow starts to introduce a little bit warmer temperatures as we get through the midweek period and on into the end of the week. We still have a little bit of a northwest flow, but primarily it is westerly, and it's going to slowly warm us up. This ridge of high pressure, that's going to be the dominant weather maker or the weather pattern through the end of this week. Really not much else expected. The Great Lakes region for the end of this week, they are going to get stormy and they're going to get quite cold. But for us, that is simply not the case. I will be watching that low pressure system south of California that could try to introduce storm patterns into the weekend forecast, but it may not even come to fruition. We're still going to be under this ridge of high pressure. We'll see how that plays out. We do have a front that's going to pass through for the midweek period, but at best, it'll introduce some cloud coverage. So that's something just to be mindful of. Maybe an uptick in the wind, but again, nothing really strong as far as the wind goes, and it should not interrupt anything in your forecast plans for being outside. Now, as far as temperatures go today, we're still cool. We're still in the 60s and 70s. Even though it's not official for the high, we're going to fall below the average. 80 is the average for Grand Junction, 77 is the average for Montrose. We'll make some improvements through the midweek, and we'll make some improvements for the temperatures at the end of the week. As far as wind go, really we're looking at less than 10 miles per hour. We really don't have strong wind gusts. We did get a blast for Grand Junction earlier today, about 30 miles per hour, but all other locations, less than the 20 mile per hour zone. And we should maintain that same weather pattern, 10 to 20 through the next several days. Now, there's a little bit of a temperature increase for many areas tomorrow afternoon. But again, this is just putting us right close to the average for this time of the year. And then the rest of the work week will moderate in the mid and upper 80s. So there's really not much weather to speak of other than these clearer skies, these drier conditions, and mild temperatures. So we'll get to the average for the midweek, and then we'll exceed it a little bit into the upcoming weekend. Watching next week, we will see if we can get a storm pattern to develop. It doesn't appear as if this weekend storm pattern, that cutoff low in Southern California, is going to do much for us. But you can see for the midweek period, thin high clouds, really not affecting our temperatures. We should steady out slightly above the average through the end of the week and into the upcoming weekend. But for all areas, if you're looking for storms, we're going to be looking towards the middle of next week.